By the way, I'm Heather Reed. I'm the Dean of Library and Learning Resources here at Berklee. And I'm just going to very quickly introduce our host and our presenter this evening. So our host, who probably needs no introduction, of course, Prince Charles Alexander. Of course, professor here in MP&E. Prince Charles actually contacted us back in the spring, I think around April timeframe, to say, hey, you know, I just saw this absolutely incredible thing called Hit Songs Deconstructed, and you guys in the library have to get this and make it available to the Berklee community. So, and I think Prince Charles will definitely provide a lot of insight tonight into why he's so excited about this product and how it fits with your work and your teaching. So I also want to introduce our presenter, David Penn, who is the creator of Hit Songs. David is really the mastermind behind this product. And so with that, I think I will hand things over to you, Prince Charles.
Sure. Appreciate it, Heather. Thank you very much. Heather, everyone. So a lot of people have asked me, Prince Charles, I want to become a producer, listen to my music. And I listen to their music and I'm like, well, you know, you don't really understand the language of production. So they'll say to me, so Prince Charles, what's the language of production? Now, we're getting into a conversation. So when I put out my first record, it went into the marketplace and it sounded small. The lyrics didn't sound as accomplished as some of the lyrics I heard in the marketplace. And I started to create in my mind a comparative analysis of other records that were out in the marketplace. This record's doing really well. Why do people like it? Let me listen to the lyrics. Let me listen to the bass line. Let me listen to the drums. Let me listen to the keyboard part. Let me listen to the guitar part, so forth and so on. I didn't even realize I was doing it, I started a template in my mind of a lot of the language of recordings that communicate with an audience. See, I don't listen to pop music like pop music. I listen to pop music as an actual amalgam of information, of notes, tones, words that are communicating to people. The higher on the charts it is, the better I like it. Even though The Hills is a weird sounding record, it's high on the charts. It's the #1 record in the country. As a music producer, I want to know why. It's just that simple. I have no judgment on whether it's a great record or not. I'm just interested in its ability to communicate. And from that point of view, you might say, well, I play an instrument, I play a saxophone, so I know what the major scale is. What are the scales in music production? The scale is the sound alike. If I can go ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da on a saxophone, hey, that's the same scale that Charlie Parker played. He had to play it, Train had to play it, guess what? I have to play it. So why would I think that I'm going to come along and be a music producer and not listen to the music production of the Beatles, to the music production of Drake, to the music production of Timbaland? How can I possibly be an accomplished music producer and actually not know the scales? What is it that I need to know? I need to know the kick drum sounds, the snare sounds, I need to know the lyrics, the progressions, how fast does the intro begin, how long is the chorus at the end of the song, where does the chorus enter? All of these things, it's a huge amount of information. A record that I really liked was Soulja Boy's Crank That. Everybody hated that record, right? I was in heaven! Because the kick drum went from an 808 kick to a gated kick drum to a really dead kick, and I'm like, this kid is 17 years old. Nobody's done that before. What's going on? And then Dr. Dre and Kanye put out a record about 3 months after that had the 808 going to the gated kick, going to the dead kick. I was like, whoa. I wasn't the only one that heard that. Or another one that everybody really, really hated, Rebecca Black's Friday. Right? Like, oh, this record is gross. But you know what? I said to myself, all right, I'm 45 years old. I'm not 45, but the guy's a producer with 45. And this 15-year-old girl's father came to them and said, can you produce something for my daughter to make her sound credible and to make her sound like a 15-year-old person that wants to do music? I listened to it from that point of view, and I was like, this is good work. The kick drum was a good kick drum. The snare was a good snare. The hi-hat was a good hi-hat. The bass line was a good bass line. Everything was good. And even Rebecca Black talking about eating cereal or whatever in the morning. I mean, what do you want a 15-year-old girl to talk about? Honestly. Why not talk about cereal in the morning? These are the types of things that I've been drawing a template about for a few decades now. And it's changed. The language has morphed. Things have happened, different instruments have come in. We went from acoustic instrumentation to drum machines and synthesizers, to MIDI, to samplers. We went to, in hip hop, we went to a West Coast language, then we went to a Southern language. And as a music producer, I saw it all happen in front of me, and there's this beautiful, elegant plate of information. And a smorgasbord for me to choose from as a music producer. So when somebody comes and says, hey, let's do an Uptown Funk, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember how we used to do that back in 1984. Somebody comes and says, hey, let's do something with, a weird whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, you mean the cycles per second that's on the synthesizer? We'll do 3 cycles per second. Oh yeah, we did that back in the 70s. Kraftwerk was doing that stuff back in 1972. So with that in mind, I tell you that the scales of music production are your ability to deconstruct music. I hear it, I have an idea of what it is. Now that I have an idea of what it is, I will look for that thing in my composition, in my creative palette, and then try to use it. And this actually helps us to move music forward in terms of you're contributing to the language of production. Now, here's my own soapbox. You guys are musicians. You're at Berklee College of Music. If you don't listen to Drake, if you don't listen to The Weeknd, if you don't listen to Lil Wayne, if you don't listen to Katy Perry, if you don't listen to Maroon 5, guess what? You're not involved in the conversation of music production on a mass scale in this country and in this world. And you know what happens? My kids, who are 4 years old, don't get to hear from the musically intelligent. They get to hear from the musically unintelligent. Your job is to understand how somebody that we might consider musically unintelligent, how are they communicating so well with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people? That's your job. Because when you leave here, oh, I can't get a gig because I'm a saxophone player. Well, you've got to figure out how to make the saxophone communicate to hundreds of thousands of people. That's not a difficult task, but it is a focused task. A task that's so focused that a resource that can actually break down the components of a song for you might be a great aid for you. And that's why when I saw Hit Songs Deconstructed, I said to myself, this is what I'm doing in many of my classes. I'm actually forcing great musicians to listen to Drake and to actually come away with information that can help them to create the next version of the saxophone record or the violin record or the sousaphone record that's got a way to communicate to people. So imagine if we had this great Hit Songs Deconstructed resource and we put it in the hands of the songwriting department, the EPD department, the MP&E department, the CWP department. What would creative people do armed with that information? We live in a world of big data right now, right? So let's look at Drake, let's look at The Weeknd, let's look at Lil Wayne, let's look at them over a period of time. And then what do we come away with? Do we come away with a knowledge base of how to actually reach out and touch people? Or do we come away and say, oh, you know, that pop music sucks. Pop music doesn't suck. Pop music is how we make a living. Pop music is how we actually create businesses so that the sound guy can work, so that the engineer can work, so that the truck company can actually employ people on the truck to actually lift gear in and lift gear out of the stadium. Pop music says hundreds of thousands of people are going to purchase my product. So guess what? We have revenue to work with. The poor musician, the poor starving musician thing, yo, man, are you tripping? Really? The starving musician? Don't even get me started. So anyway, David Penn spends an inordinate amount of time to create a great product for a musical person to look at and understand the inner components of a record that communicates with a large number of people. So I'm going to start talking right now, hand it over to David, and let's take a look at Hit Songs Deconstructed from the man that actually invented it. Everyone, David Penn.
Thank you, Chris Charles. Best intro ever.